Good morning, girls. Welcome to the subject of productions and operations management. We are dealing with unit number 4 and almost the second last part of your chapter. We are dealing with the unit of process selection. Process selection is nothing but to choose a way or method to create something from inputs to outputs. This is the simple meaning of process. When so many alternatives are available, we can always make the selections from the available alternatives, and that is what is said to be process selection. In the previous lectures, we have dealt with the fundamentals of process selection, like what is process, the functions carried out by it, the two aspects, that is process planning and process selection, right? And we are dealing with the types of processes right now, which is very important from the examination point of view also and from the understanding point of view also. So in today's session, we'll be learning more about the three major strategies and its comparison, and then we move on to the major process decision that is said to be one of the major and very crucial decisions made by the management related to the process choices, or we call it types of production system, right? Before we go to that, we'll first analyze the three major strategies related to process selection. As I told you in the previous lecture, we have already checked out with the process selection, its introduction. We have seen with the introduction of process strategies, right? And today we'll be learning more about the different types of process strategies available to us. Let us see it one more time. What is process strategy? We'll refresh it. Process strategy is an organization's approach towards what? Towards the process selection for the purpose of transforming resources, that is inputs or goods, into some kind of outputs. It may be in the form of tangible goods or intangible services. The objective of the process strategy is to find a way to produce goods and services that meets the requirement and specification, that is design specification, within the constraint of the cost other than managerial limit and other managerial limitations. Means whatever the limitations of an organization may be, considering other limitations related to cost and whatever the available influential factors are there, we consider all of them and then we decide on one single process. That is what is said to be process strategy. In short, the process selected will have the long-term effect on efficiency and production, flexibility, cost and quality of goods produced. Hence, it is very necessary that a firm has a sound process strategy at a time of selecting the process. That means the organization or the unit should be clear as to what type of strategy, with what type of strategy it wants to work, with what kind of approach it wants to produce the goods, right? Because there are options available, because there are strategies available, he can select according to his own wish, according to his own financial capability, what type of flexibility it wants, what type of production it wants, what type of quality and cost of goods he wants to create. Depending on that, he selects from the available strategies, and that is what is said to be process strategy, right? We have also checked out, if you remember, with the process strategy, two aspects of process strategy, that is make or buy decision or the factors affecting, right? Factors affecting, I just mentioned it before a couple of minutes. That means make or buy decision is one of the aspect of process strategy, and the other one is factors affecting. When we talk about make or buy, we can say that make or buy is such a kind of decision wherein the unit decides whether it wants to carry out with the complete manufacturing, that is making the goods or each and every component of the product, or it may be buying the product from outside or sub-component from outside in the form of, say, the outsourcing, right? So it depends on the organization's viewpoint, or it depends on its strategy, how it wants to check out with the making or buying decisions, right? There are various factors, that is also we have seen in the earlier lecture, wherein we have listed few of the factors that actually helps to decide what process strategy should be selected. Now when it comes to process strategy, there are three common process strategies available, and out of it the manufacturer can select any one of them. One is the process focus, The other one is repetitive focus and the product focus. The name itself tells much about the strategy. Let us begin with the process focus. Now when we are talking about process focus, majority of the global production is devoted to low volume, high variety products in manufacturing facilities called job shops. Such facilities are organized around performing the processes. For example, the processes might be welding, grinding, painting carried out in the department devoted to these processes. Such facilities are process focused in terms of equipments, machines, layout and supervision. That means they provide high degree of flexibility as the products move intermittently between the processes. Each process is designed to perform a wide variety of activities and handles frequent changes. Such kind of strategy is known as process focus. What is process focus? Here the process is given the priority. That means whatever the common processes are, the similar type of equipments or the machines are placed together and multiple products are produced. That means high variety of products can be produced of the low volume, and considering the similarity of the process, they are grouped together. This kind of strategy is known as process focus strategy. And if we move on to the next strategy, it is all about repetitive focus. Repetitive, again the name tells us that there may be the repetition of the process every now and then. A repetitive process is a product oriented production process that uses modules. It falls between the product and process focus. It uses the modules in which the parts or components prepared often in a continuous or mass production process. For example, repetitive proves is assembly line, which is used for assembling the automobiles or maybe the household appliances and is less flexible than the process focused facilities. Repetitive itself tells us that there is repetition of the work or there is repetition of the activity. The best example of repetitive to understand repetitive, if you understand assembly lines, in assembly lines what happens is we assemble the subproduct, right? Whatever the subcomponents are there, we assemble it together to bring one single product, and that is what is known as repetitive focus, wherein the similar types of product are brought into and they are compiled to a particular product, and that is what is known as repetitive focus. This is very common in the automobile industry or maybe in manufacturing the household appliances, and it is also very less flexible. Process focus is completely flexible, whereas the repetitive focus is less flexible than the process focused facilities, right? The third strategy that comes up in the series is said to be product focus. Now what happens here? It is the facility organized around the product. That means here the product is important. A product oriented, high volume, low variety process. Product means here the product is important. Here high volume may be there, but the variety may be very low. That means standardized products are produced. It also refers to as continuous process because it has a long continuous production run. For example, maybe the steel industry, glass, paper, electric bulbs, etc. are such products which uses this product focus strategy, in which the standardization is required and even the quality control is required. The specialized nature of the facility requires high fixed kind of facilities. You cannot have the flexibility here because the standardized goods are produced, because product is more important. Here high volume of the goods are produced at very low variety process. That means the variation may not be there, but high volume of the goods may be produced, and that is what is said to be product focus kind of strategy. That means we have seen three types of strategies, which says all about the process focus, repetitive focus, or it is the product focus. See, it can be process focus. As you can see, there is a comparison chart provided here, right? If you just study the chart, even then you can understand which type of processes are what, right? So if we are talking about the process focus, here it may be low volume, The volume may be very low because the process is important, flexibility is more, and there may be high variety of goods. When it comes to repetitive, it is said to be more or less modular types, right? And the third one, that is known as product focus. Here there is high volume of goods. That means the number of items that may be produced may be really very high, but as compared to its variety, the variety is low. That means standardized products are produced. We don't go in the detail of this strategy comparison. Instead, if we understand the concept, then the comparison becomes easy to know, right? Here we are moving towards the last part, that is said to be the process choice. That is the major decision. See, in an organization there may be 5 major decisions, right? That is process choice, vertical integration, resource flexibility, customer involvement, and capital intensity. These are the 5 major type of the decisions that an entrepreneur takes up, right? Out of these 5 major decisions, we are to only study with the process choices, right? The first decision taken up by the manufacturer, and that is what we are going to study here. We are not going in detail of all these major type of decisions like vertical integration, maybe the resource flexibility, or maybe the customer or capital intensity, right? We are not going in depth of these rest of the 4. Instead, we focus on the first one, that is process choice. When it comes to your syllabus, again, that demands what? That demands the types of production process in detail and not the rest of the decision. So we are avoiding it. We are moving towards the first major decision, and only that decision will be studying in the further part of the session also, and the coming session also. So process choice is the type of production system. That means if I am a manufacturer, if I want to produce a product, then before me there may be various alternatives available, that I can produce A with a P also, P process, it may be Q process, it may be R process, it may be S process, any kind of processes, or whatever the alternatives are available, they are always there and we can choose out of it, right? And that choosing of the process is said to be the process decision, right? So we are going to discuss as many as say 5 types, but before that we can divide the whole types of production system on the basis of 2 categories. One is based on market. See, process can be of 2 types. How? It can be bifurcated on the basis of market orientation. A process can be categorized at make to stock. That means you are making just to stock, right? There is no demand, even though you are stocking it, right? Assemble to order, that means if some kind of order is there and then you start assembling the subcomponents, because you are not the whole manufacturer, you are not producing everything by your own, you are not self-sufficient, so you highly depend on the other components. You try to get those products and then subcomponents, and then you are trying to assemble it to make the or to fulfill the order. That is said to be the second category. The third is said to be make to order. That means we are making some kind of goods to order. That means whatever the order has been placed, accordingly we make the goods. And the last one is engineer to order. Engineer to order means to make kind of changes wherever required to the orders. These are the 4 categories of the on the basis of market orientation. A process can be say bifurcated into the 2 categories. One is based on market orientation, and the second one is based on what do we say is the circumstances, right? Then a process can be categorized as there cannot be any best production system for any product. The selection of the system depends on the different circumstances, but due care should be taken to see that it meets or at least the basic objectives, right? The basic objective is to meet the specification of the end users, and it should be cost effective also. These 2 things are kept in mind, and then on the basis of market orientation the process may be selected. Thus the major process that can be studied are as under, like here we'll be studying 5 major types: job shop, batch processes, assembly line, continuous process, or project process. Here we shall study the whole all of them into three parts. That means the introductory part. A would be introductory part, B would be the advantages, and C part would be almost the limitation of each process. That makes the wholesome answer also, and in whatever ways the question has been asked, you can cater the answer accordingly, right? So in all the five cases, we'll be studying them in detail, along with, I repeat, introduction, advantages, and the limitations. To start with, we can understand this with the help of job shop. Now, what is this job shop? Then job shop is such a kind of say process in which we make a low volume of high variety goods, right? Processing is intermittent, means it keeps on discontinuing. Each job requires somewhat different processing, right? And it is highly customized. There is high chances of flexibility. It is a kind of say, for example, a tool and die is an example of job shop, where the job process is carried out to produce one of a kind of the tools. That means whatever we are trying to produce, right, that may be on the order basis, there is high customization. The volume may not be very big, but whatever we are producing is highly customized. Whatever is required, only that much portion is being produced. So job shop is such a kind of process. Firms having the job shop carry out the job works for the other firms. Often we have heard that industry takes up with the job work, right? Job work means what? Means a part of the work is being given to somebody else, some other firm, and on your behalf the the job is taken up by that firm, and it uses the flexible flow strategy and resources, and then organizes the process accordingly, and that is what is known as job shop. Job or make complete production is the creation of single items by either one operative team or maybe more than that, right? Smaller projects can also be seen as a form of job production. For example, hand knitting, sweaters, writing a book, say rewiring a house, they all can be considered as the part of job shop, wherein whatever is demanded, that the same things are being placed here, right? Example of the service industries include maybe hair cutting, wherein the processing a customer's order is the important. Whatever the type of hairstyle you need, accordingly the work is or activity is being taken up. So job shop is a type of manufacturing process structure where the small batches of variety custom goods are made in such kind of job process, right? If we check out the next, there are few characteristics of job shop, like it has its own layout. Because it is highly customized process, whatever the requirements are, accordingly everything is being used, so the layout is typical one. Similar equipments are placed together, or they are grouped together, so that we need the least material handling. That is the first characteristic. Second is routing. Routing means in advance we are mapping it, in advance we are planning something, that first will be this, second would be this, third would be this, and likewise. That means the route is being created. That means every job shop, that means every order has its own specifications, and that is why a special routing may be set up for each type of orders that we have. So process planning, tooling, sequencing, etc. is done anew, afresh for every single time, or at every single time, right? When it comes to employees, the employees in job shop are highly skilled, who are able to handle many different operations, and they are paid very high for the same, right? Information, it is most important in job shop, because every kind of process that we take up highly depends on the information that they receive. Then it may be different in each case. That is why on information so many things are dependent, and that is why it is the most important characteristic of job shop. Fifth and the last one comes up is scheduling. A job can be differentiated by its route, its processing requirements, and its priority. That means a schedule is being prepared for each new job, and then accordingly the work is being carried out. These are the characteristics of job shop. All right, wherein if we see it, then we can mark that it is having the layout, it is having say the routing, specific routing. It has very well skilled employees. The information is very very crucial. And the fifth point is said to be scheduling, wherein each schedule, differentiated schedules are prepared for each type of order. We are moving towards the benefit. As I told you, each process that we take, it will be divided into three parts. The first part would be the introductory session, that means introductory part. B part would be the benefits, and the third part would be its limitations. If we move to the benefits of job production, number one, the job is a unique as it focuses on customization. It is very well understood. We can remember as it is that what is the first advantage? It is unique in nature. It is different from another one, because here mass production is not there. Customization is there. Whatever you order it, the same you get it, right? So products which exactly matches the requirement of the customers are produced. It will therefore tend to be a specific to customers order and not in anticipation to sale. What will be sold out is not important, but what the customer wants is important, and that is why the job is a unique kind of customization. Second benefit is supervision becomes simple, because similar types of say machines are placed together. So whatever is happening at the first machine, same may be there for the second or third machine. That means you don't need a heavy supervision, then it may be simple enough, right? Third one comes up is changes in the specification becomes easy. Specification for the job can change during the course of production, depending upon the customer's inspection to meet his or her changing needs. Suppose if I'm a customer, and if I'm asking for some kind of say a production, and I'm providing a kind of order to some other firm, right? Then I have given my specification, and accordingly it will be the duty of the firm to see that all the specifications are being fulfilled by the route, or maybe by the process that it takes up. The fourth benefit comes up is single order can be easily managed. Very very important. Working on a single unit job, coping with the variety of the task and being part of the small team actually is very very important, and gives level of satisfaction also. That means these are the benefits. What the job, unique kind of job can be created with customization. Supervision becomes easy. The third one is the changes in the specification. If any changes are required, then you yourself can make the changes, and single order can be easily managed, right? Again, it provides emergency parts or services can be made available. That means whenever an emergency arises, then because we don't depend too much on the say we get everything in the form of processed goods, right? So in emergency it is very very useful, helps to generate high quality of work, because the small variety, small production is there, and there may be high variety, right? So it focuses more on quality. Next comes up is helps to motivate workers due to the skilled nature of the work that they are performing. That means whatever the work is being performed, the workers can be motivated at each time, because they are using a special kind of skills every time. So these are the 6 types of say benefits or advantages, whatever you call it, of the job shop, right? When it comes to disadvantages, then we can say that the cost of production rises high, or it is generally high. Why? Because you need customized product, you need customized staff, you need say customized kind of routing scheduling for each one of them, that may give the price rise, right? Next disadvantage is specialized skill labor is required, and that may be very expensive at times. Next is it is slower as compared to batch and mass production. જે વસ્તુ બેચ પ્રોડક્શન દ્વારા થાય છે અથવા તો માસ પ્રોડક્શન દ્વારા થાય છે, they are more reliable than the job shop, right? Next comes up is complex jobs get delayed as it keeps the process waiting until the parts are done. Many a times there is too much of dependence on getting the goods through job shop. So what happens, until the time they are there, you have to actually hinder the whole process of production, and that may not be affordable every time. Thus we can say that job shop are typically small manufacturing business that handles job production, that is the tailor made goods or semi tailored or customized manufacturing process can be there, uh, right? And that can be used. Job shops typically move on the different jobs, say possibly with the different customers. By the nature of this type of manufacturing process, job shops are usually specialized in skill and processes, and the next is the opposite would be continuous flow of manufacturers such as textile, steel, food manufacturing, manual, everything can be done under the same roof. So job shop is such a kind of arrangement which has low variety, but uh, there may be low volume with high variety, right? And it is made to order. That means whenever there is order, you can bring up with the orders and you can carry out with the production and pass it on to the end users. This is said to be job shop. When we come to batch process, then batch process is more or less same like job process, but there is a significant difference that we will study. Batch process is used when a moderate volume of goods or services is required, and also moderate variety in the product or services are required. See, batch is neither of the extremes. That means when you want not too much or not too less, then you will try to produce the product through say this type of process, which is known as batch process. It differs from the job process because with the following respect, that means the batch and job process is not the same, because there is volume and variety that differs the or that demarks the process. Batch process, in the batch process volumes are higher, mind you. જોબમાં વોલ્યુમ ઓછું હતું, અહીંયા volumes are higher because same or similar product or series are repeatedly provided. We have also provided with example. For example, product produced in batches include the paint, ice creams, soft drinks, books and magazines. These are all the examples of job shop, wherein the say paints, if they are produced, maybe the ice creams that are produced, they are produced through batch production. What is the main significant point about batch production? It is moderate volume of goods and services. Next comes up is the term batch refers to the specific group of components which go through a production process together. As one batch finishes, the next batch one starts. For example, on Mondays, machine A produces a type of engine part. On Tuesday, it produces two engine parts. On Wednesday, there may be three, and so on and so forth. All engines produced will then go forward to the final assembly of the different categories of the engine parts, right? That means here what you have to remember is that batch process is such a kind of process wherein the moderate volume of the goods and services are being produced, right? When we are talking about the batch production, batches are continually processed through each machine before moving on to the next operation. But this method is sometimes referred to as the intermittent production method also, wherein different jobs may be held up and there may be a lot of things to be done in work in progress and of the various stages. That there may be once the one batch is not getting over, the rest will not be able to work out, and that is why it may be a time consuming kind of process, and work in progress is slow, right? Thus it is suitable for manufacturing a variety of product with a small volume of the production on a machine called batch quantity. Alright, so here what comes up is it is suitable for all those manufacturing of the items with small volume. The volume of the production may be very small and they are more known as batch quantity, right? and only after its completion another product can be selected. Very very important when you are selecting your team. Then once only first thing is clear, only then you can go with the next batch. It's like clearing the batches. We can see it say suppose this year who are there in FY is said to be 2021 batch, right? The previous batch may be known as 1920 batch, and the other one previous to previous may be known as 19 batch. That means whatever you study in a single batch, once that batch is clear, only then the next batch can come up. Same way in the production also, the batch production method is such a kind of method in which there may be a variety of products but the volume may be very small, right? When we come to the characteristics, it requires heavy investment because a variety of products are produced. Next, it involves complex planning a mechanism. That means the planning that you do for batch may be very complex, because once the whole process is clear, only then you can start with the next one. Again, it is based on evaluation and estimation of requirement of the customers on the basis of general business conditions, past information and future sales. That means what will be sold in future, depending upon that, whatever the past information may be there, or maybe what are the business conditions, depending on that, then the batches are being framed and the production is taken up. The batch is not forwarded until the batch is complete, so there are chances that the manpower and machines may remain idle. That means until the whole process, that means 5 stages are not done, until then the batch is not ready for the sale. So in this case, what is the disadvantageous thing is that the manpower and machines may remain idle. કોઈ વખત એવું પણ બને કે મેન પાવરને અને machines, they are totally idle. Why? Because the rest of the things are not yet done. The operation begins with the receipt of orders. That means whatever you want to produce, that can only be produced once you get the order for the same, right? With every fresh order, there is a change in the planning, routing and scheduling. Naturally, whatever you produce with the fresh order, only you can make the changes. And inspection cannot be lined up with the production, because here batch production is there. Until and unless all the stages are clear, you will not be able to line it up together, and that is why inspection is very random kind, and it may not be lined up always with the production. Eighth one is, as the workload is not balanced, it cannot adjust the demand fluctuation, because one batch gets over, once that cycle is over, the next batch can come up. So like that, the workload cannot be balanced, and it cannot be and it can, many a times it fails to meet with the demand fluctuation, right? Here we are going to check out with the advantages. It is particularly suitable for wide range of almost similar goods. It economizes upon the range of machinery needed and reduces the flexible. It needs for the flexible worker need, whatever the needs may be there, that may be minimized. Units can respond quickly to the customers orders by moving the buffer stock. That means whatever is already produced, that can be used for satisfying the customers demand. It makes possible economies of scale. Economies of scale means bulk production, right? Because bulk purchasing can be done, and the techniques that are being used, even that can be economized. Fifth one is, it makes the costing easy and provides a better information services for the management also. It makes the costing easy in the sense that whatever are being produced, it produces a wide wide range of variety of goods may be there, but the quantity may be smaller enough, right? So these are the advantages. We are moving towards the limitations of batch process. It holds up large amount of capital and space. We know, due to longer flow and irregularity, material handling is costlier, because many a times you have to carry it, backward forward tracking is being done. Production cycle is longer, because unless the stages are not clear in one cycle, you cannot go for the next production. Scheduling, again, economic batch quantity cannot be determined, because everything is done in batch. It is intermittent. There are so many stoppages in between, What happens because of that? You can't have the say economic batch quantity cannot be determined. That means at this level of the production you will be able to have the maximum quantity that cannot be determined. Scheduling and sequencing is difficult because you hardly know that which process will follow the next. So scheduling and sequencing at times is tough in batch process. Next is various products are shared in the same machine. That means it may so happen that the same machine may be used for multiple times by multiple products. So at times that may reduce the work efficiency of the machines also. That may so happen, right? So here we are ending up with part 4 of the process selection, wherein we have seen two major types of process, right? Job shop and batch. In the next sessions to come we'll be checking with the last three types, and we end up in the next session with unit number 4. By the time we meet next, it's a goodbye from my side, and take care of yourselves. Thank you.